Coming up this hour, Vice President Dr Bawumia commits to allocate 3% of GDP to develop road infrastructure.
We are committed to ensuring that our road network supports our economic ambitions, enhances the quality of life of our citizens, and leaves a legacy for future generations.
Details as Finance Minister hints of plans to leverage pension funds, among others, to invest in road infrastructure.
That we are almost done with commencement certificates for the Minister for Roads to commence the rehabilitation of Accra roads. Accra, inside Accra, the roads will be done.
Also, scores of aggrieved staff of produce buying companies stormed the head office in Accra, demanding for the dismissal of their management and salary arrears, which hasn't been paid in the last 12 months. And also, NDC flag bearer John Mahama casts a damning verdict on MPP's created development authority, saying they have not achieved their purpose. Details, as he says, the future NDC government will reconfigure them. Now, Vice President and flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr Bawumia, has committed to allocate 3% of the country's GDP to develop road sector should he win the December polls. The Vice President says the government is overburdened with the financing of projects, particularly road infrastructure. He explained how a Bawumia-led administration will involve the private sector and deliberately realign the financing module of infrastructure in Ghana. He was addressing stakeholders in the road sector at the 50th anniversary of the Ghana Highway Authority. Listen.
We are committed to ensuring that our road network supports our economic ambitions, enhances the quality of life of our citizens, and leaves a legacy for future generations. However, to realize these goals, we must confront the significant financing gap that threatens to undermine our progress. According to recent estimates, our nation requires $12 billion to clear the maintenance backlog and enable the network of about 94,203 kilometers to be at an optimal level. However, current funding levels only cover about 38% of this requirement, not even 50%, leaving a significant shortfall. This gap translates into deteriorating road conditions, increased maintenance costs, and missed economic opportunities. Globally, the situation is similar. The African Development Bank reports a continental infrastructure financing gap of between $68 billion and $108 billion annually. This staggering figure underscores the importance of innovative solutions and strategic partnerships. Under the leadership of our administration, we have prioritized infrastructure development as a cornerstone of our economic strategy.
Now, my colleague Latif Ras was at the 50th anniversary celebration ceremony where the Vice President made a commitment and joins me via Zoom for more. Latif, what other areas did the Vice President touch on with regards to the improving road infrastructure in Ghana? So let's hear the VP on what he thinks about how Ghana can use road tolls to develop their roads.
We should be thinking about methods and that we could make the tolling more broad-based, and then we all contribute to it, and then the revenue will be much higher. So if you can find a way to do this digitally or whatever, we can do it. I mean, but the whole thinking for me is there's an inequity in tolling. That, you know, some people don't have to bother, but those are the neighborhoods with the best roads, but they don't contribute. right? So you collect from the poorer areas and do the roads in the richer areas. So anyway, as I said, it's a little provocative, so you can think about it as you discuss. But I believe in broad-based tooling.
Now, the Finance Minister, Dr. Amina Adama, has been hinting about some innovative ways of realigning sources for infrastructure development, particularly in the road sector.
Has come for us to do things differently. And we at the Ministry of Finance will work to ensure investors can be sufficiently supported to deliver a pipeline of bankable projects without cumbersome processes. We also want to look internally to leverage more predictable funding sources, such as pension funds. I can gather, ladies and gentlemen, that pension assets under management reached almost 50 billion Ghana cedis last year. Therefore, we want to work with the regulator and the pension funds to ensure we structure a regime that allows our pension funds to co-invest in commercially attractive infrastructure projects that deliver stable returns on.
My colleague Latif Ras, who was at this gathering, joins me now via Zoom. Latif, so we've been hearing from the Vice President and the Finance Minister on what they do think about road infrastructure in the country. What more do we know about the administration's commitment in the road sector?
Well, so Kojo, you know that from what we've heard so far, there is a plan by the administration to reintroduce the road toll, which was abolished some few months ago. Now, according to the Vice President, he has identified some, what he calls inequity in the payment of road tolls. And so once it is reinstated, he's put out a suggestion to stakeholders to consider how to bring on board people who live within affluent communities to get them to also pay their share of the road tolls.
Okay. Now, the Finance Minister has also been talking about government's commitment to road infrastructure in this country. And in fact, he's been talking about what they've done as a government in the sector. What did he say?
Yeah, so the Finance Minister, Mohammed Amin Adams, has been talking about the amount of money this administration has invested in the road sector alone. He mentioned that within the first quarter of 2024, the Akufo-Addo-led administration has spent some 10 billion Ghana cedis in the road sector alone.
78,000 kilometers to about 100,000 kilometers in road network that we've increased. Asphalt overlay. We have done, in terms of asphalt overlay, 2,000 kilometers. In terms of rehabilitation and maintenance, we've done 11,674 kilometers, in spite of the little resources that we have. And this year alone, from January to June, this government has already spent 10 billion Ghana cedis on roads alone. Road sector, January to June, 10 billion Ghana cedis. And we are going to spend more on roads before the end of the year. The people of Accra, I want to inform you that we are almost done with commencement certificates for the Minister for Roads to commence the rehabilitation of Accra roads. Accra, inside Accra, the roads will be done.
Let's do more on this. Joining me via Zoom is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry, Emmanuel Cherry. Grateful to you for joining. How feasible is this pledge of 3% of GDP in favor of private sector involvement for infrastructure development?
Yes, first of all, we must commend the Vice President for at least tabling this for discussion. However, the private sector, we are being the partner in development for these ages, as we speak. So therefore, it's nothing new to us, but the modalities that is bringing to the table, or possibly the formula is trying to introduce to the table, that is what is a bit different. Okay. That is going to at least cut 3% of GDP, purposely dedicated to infrastructure development that includes roads, classroom infrastructure development, and what have you, which is something that collectively we must embrace. But the issue before us here is, as we, the private sector, develop a partnership that we play with government, today, the government of the day has all the boldness to go around to tout that they are the best road contractors of the country, or possibly they constructed more roads than any other government, according to them, from Nkrumah till date. The question is, who were the partners? Who partnered them in doing this? It is us, with the private sector.
Okay.
The question is, where do we get those resources from? Is it from GDP cutting? No. We went into our own resources to borrow money from all quarters and all angles.
Okay.
Some of our contractors are going to the international market to borrow money.
Okay.
At the, how do you call it, to the CD to the dollar is 5.4%, 5.4 to the exchange rate today. That money is in arrears. The government has not been able to pay.
Okay.
So therefore, as we, the private sector, we are ever ready to partner with whatsoever government that is ever ready to develop an infrastructure space.
If you listen to the Vice President, he's keen on the involvement of private sector in road construction. Do you think PPP is the way to go?
Yeah, that's one thing that we commend the government for by passing the PPP law, which is an act now that is giving them the leverage or the window to bring in the private sector participation. But the question we need to ask ourselves is, most of our roads, especially the, how do you call it, the express roads, they are not that much. And then most of them too, they are not within the, they are not situated within the catchment areas that possibly after construction, you can tow it and get the funding immediately. Okay. Unlike Accra Road, Accra to Kumasi, Accra to Apulawu, and what have you. But most of them, the larger aspects are outskirts. So therefore, if you should bring PPP, which is good, but the private sector, the private partner may not be able to get those particular money on time, as expected, which means going to take a longer time for the government to be able to raise that particular money to pay the private sector, the private partner. Okay. And therefore, where we are today, government must think outside the box. Okay. In as much as we are thinking of going into the financial market to leverage on private fund, we must also try as much as possible to see domestically, what can we do? Okay. Because
Mr. Cherry, I'm grateful to you for joining us with your thoughts. Now, away from that, the NDC is serving notice that it will take a second look at the NPP's led development authorities if it is elected back into power. The party's flag bearer, John Mahama, at a media encounter, gave a damning verdict on the state institutions, saying they have not served the purpose for which they were created. The Coastal Development Authority, the Middle Belt Development Authority, and the Northern Development Authority were created under the NPP government to decentralize development efforts and ensure that all regions of Ghana benefit from the national growth, but the former president says it has rather deprived them of resources. John Mahama accused the government of starving district assemblies of the needed funds and siphoning them off to the development authorities instead.
They don't have as much access as they should. But let me explain to you. The members of parliament are not the prime movers of development in the constituencies and the districts. It is rather the district chief executives. And development is not moving because this government has reduced the district assembly's common fund from 7.5% of total revenue that we were paying to 5%. And so it means that the districts are receiving less funds for their own development. And so if you ask the district chief executives in this government, they are really suffering. I really pity them. They are the most long-suffering district chief executives in the history of the Fourth Republic. Because everybody is blaming them for not drilling a borehole here, for not building a school there, but they don't have the funds because their government is not giving them the funds. They've reduced the funds, and apart from that, they are not releasing the district assembly's common fund. Even the share of the MPs, which is a small percentage of it, it's only when the MPs put pressure in Parliament and tell the finance minister they won't approve something for him, then they'll release the share of the MPs. Meanwhile, the one that goes to the district itself is in arrears for so many quarters. And so you can't blame the district chief executives. They just don't have the funds to be able to do it.
Away from that, aggrieved staff of the produce buying company PBC stormed the head office in Accra, demanding payment of their 12 to 14-month salary arrears. Some staff members, now forced to ask for arms and borrow to survive, are calling on the government to sack the current management and probe their activities. My colleague Michael Ashley was there and our reports.
Scores of angry staff of produce buying company picketing the head office of PBC. They are concerned they haven't been paid for at least 12 months. They also allege that the current management has run down the company. Vice chairman of the pressure group, Seth Edusaid, says they have had enough.
For the past 14 months, some 12 months, some 14 months, we haven't received salaries. We have other issues from today and even up to the end of this month. He should call off this management. We can't work with them. So boy, they took this company from where we were having a market share of 30.8%, and now we are completely flat with 0%. Now we're stretched over 7 years. We haven't received both PF1, PF2. In addition to unpaid salary for the past 14 months and others 12 months.
Some of the affected staff say they have resorted to begging for arms and loans to survive.
Yeah, living on friends and families, to be borrowing and be owing. I do farming and stuff like that to keep up myself.
Some of us are seriously taken by surprise, so we need to be calling on friends and families and all that. We have become absolutely beggars.
Our children are now at home. We've not paid their school fees. They are demanding it from us. Our landlords are also evicting us.
The group has given government 1 month to deliver on their demands. Chairman of the pressure group, Frederick Kwame Boachi, says they will escalate their actions if their demands are not met.
In the first place, they have to put this management aside so that investigation should go on. Because our management is the cause of our problem.
But how long are you giving government to intervene?
In fact, with immediate effect, at least by the end of this month, if they don't come to our aid, in fact, there will be a commotion, brutal commotion in this country. We don't fear anything.
We were told management was not available when we attempted to get a response from them. The aggrieved staff have now given government, parliament and management of PBC 1 month, that is the end of August, to address all their concerns or incur their wrath. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
A resident of Boho in Boho in the Efija-Kwabre South District of the Ashanti region are demanding a blasting timetable from a quarry firm operating in the area. According to them, the indiscriminate period of blasting the rocks is adversely affecting the communities. There is more in this report by Joseph Obeng Retiu.
The quarry activities at Boho and Intri Boho in the Efija-Kwabre South has had dire implications on the lives of residents living close to the quarry sites. For years, residents in the area must endure the deafening sound of dynamite explosions daily, with some of them suffering injuries from the flying stones. Stella Cranche, a shopkeeper, recounts a near accident involving her daughter that nearly cost her life. When they blast, the stones mostly come here. Later on, they settle for them to blast underground. But now they've started again. Yesterday, a flying stone nearly killed my daughter. The residents of these two communities are calling on the quarry companies to provide them blasting timetable.
So,
when they are about blasting the rocks, they must blow an alarm for us to get prepared. So with that, passing here would not be a problem.
We
live with the rocks, and in every community that has blasting activities happening, they always blow alarms for people to be alert. Former chairman of the Landlord Association, Stephen Yabua, explained the ordeal every day.
Problem is blasting. Anytime you blasting. Our
major problem is the blasting. If you look at the number of houses here, they have all been cracked and the roofs have been removed. So there must be a timetable for the blasting. Joseph Obins reports for Joy News.
Welcome back from the break. Now, Ghana's High Commission in the United Kingdom has assured that no Ghanaian has been attacked in the violent anti-immigrant protests sweeping across the United Kingdom. Protests first broke out last week after an anti-immigrant campaign stoked outrage over a stabbing attack that left 3 children dead in Southport. The BBC has reported that at least 400 persons have been arrested so far, with 1 person jailed. Ghanaians living in the UK have raised concerns over their safety, especially as protests are intensifying in London Wednesday. First, listen to my colleague with the BBC, Daniel Datze, who spoke to us on Pulse a while ago, reporting that at least 6,000 security officers have been deployed to contain the situation.
So currently there's a general state of readiness. We've been speaking to the police, and our sources tell us that they're expecting about 100 incidents, not just in London, but across the country. In terms of the anti-immigrant protests, and then there will also be some 30 counter-protests to what is happening. They've deployed about 6,000 officers to basically show visibility and be there, of course, to quell any disturbances.
Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK, Papa Usankuma, has assured that no Ghanaian has been caught up in the protest.
No, certainly not. I mean, it's not as large scale as people may think. It's rather isolated, except that it seems as if it's organized nationwide through social media by some extremist groups who are taking advantage of the frustration of some citizens of the UK and trying to promote ethnic animosity against minorities. I don't think any individuals or groups have been attacked warranting the intervention of any mission. No. I mean, these are quite isolated, even though it's calculated. And the media coverage has also then heightened, let's say, people's apprehension about these things escalating. But I dare say that, well, it will turn around in the next few days.
Away from that, women in Tolong, Kombungu, Savelugu, and Nanton, all in the northern region, are able to grow vegetables all year round thanks to the development of small-scale irrigation systems. The project is employing multiple approaches to support smallholder farmers in cultivating vegetables, utilizing community-owned perennial dams and underground water sources. This initiative not only enhances their income, but also enables them to adapt to shifting weather patterns. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has more in Climate Focus series.
Women tending to their vegetable garden, a daily routine that ensures their crops receive the necessary water to thrive. The water flowing from the dam supplies the garden, where the women collect it from this point to nourish their vegetables such as bitter leaf, pepper, among others. Fatih Ibrahim is one of the beneficiaries.
As soon as dawn breaks, we all hurry to the farm, and work begins immediately upon arrival. If we are fortunate, vegetable buyers will show up, and if we have crops like ayoyo, bra, or beans ready, we can harvest and sell them on the spot. This is a privilege we get to enjoy. Our community was once stagnant, with little to no productivity or activity beyond mere survival. But then Go Adapt arrived and sparked a transformation, awakening us from a state of dormancy. The impact has been immense.
These rural women used to rely on rainfall to plant their crops, but now they have a more reliable solution. For example, Adamu Muhammad would have previously been idle, waiting for the unpredictable rains, but now he has more stable and productive option.
In the past, during this time of the season, we felt lost and uncertain about what to do. But now, on Kumbungu market days, if you are unable to attend, you feel incomplete because we have grown accustomed to acquiring essential food items and even setting aside some savings from the sales we generate.
Coordinator for the project, Ibrahim Nuruddin, says the project aims to take women out of poverty and provide stable income for them.
It helps them to generate income to support their families. It also helps to improve their nutritional value. It helps them improve their livelihood and also do a lot of things from this.
The women express gratitude for the Go Adapt project, a collaborative initiative by changing lives in innovative partnerships and youth empowerment for Life Ghana, which they say is transforming their lives for the better. The project prioritizes inclusive climate adaptation planning, empowering the smallholder farmers to build resilience and adapt to the challenges of changing weather patterns.
Now, pro-environmental civil society organization Eco-Conscious Citizens are raising urgent alarms over the rapid encroachment of the Peshi Lagoon and its surrounding wetlands by private developers. The group is calling on the government, environmental agencies and other stakeholders to take immediate and decisive action to preserve these vital ecosystems and also enforce stricter regulations on land use and redevelopment in environmentally sensitive areas. Awula Sewa is the core coordinator or the coordinator for the Eco-Conscious Citizens.
This mission is that we are trying to preserve the integrity of our wetlands and our Ramsar sites. There are constructions on them. If you look just here, you see the sand. So what they do is that what is supposed to be a wetland, our good Lord creates it. Debris is brought from wherever and it's filled, and then you find structures on them. We were around the Polo Club, where you'd see that, you know where the Polo Club is, close to Labadi Beach. You find out that what used to be part of the wetland has been filled, and the car park has been constructed on it. And we are saying that that's not negotiable, and that if there's a torrential rain, there'll be loss of life. More than property is property, but life, you cannot replace it. Coupled with the other things we are doing through illegal mining, losing our green spaces, declassifying parts of Achimota forest and so on and so forth, you are interfering with the well-being of Ghanaians. This is the job of the local authorities. If you go around inside, you see stop work, produce documents, stop work, and then they go to sleep, or whatever happens, and things continue. There's something known as compliance. People are supposed to comply with laws and regulations, but when they don't comply, it's up to the authorities to enforce the laws. So if you know you have a buffer zone where people are not supposed to have permanent structure, they're not supposed to be cement, and you can see people doing something, you're supposed to act. You don't just go and write, stop work, and then you go to sleep.
Now, some metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the Ashanti region are waiting in earnest to receive their promised road construction equipment under the government's district road improvement program. President Akufo-Addo last week unveiled a fleet of over 2,000 units of equipment under the initiative that is aimed at decentralizing road projects to be carried out by the government in the over 261 assemblies across the country. But chief executives of the Swami and of Orikro municipalities in the Ashanti region say they are yet to be handed their equipment for road projects in their communities. There's more in this report.
Under the District Road Improvement Program, the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies are expected to receive essential earth-moving equipment such as caterpillars, bulldozers and concrete mixers for roadworks in their localities. Funded through the District Assembly Common Fund, the initiative is meant to patch up and smoothen deplorable roads across the country. After the unveiling in Accra, a number of assemblies in the Ashanti region, including the Swami and Orikro municipalities, are yet to be handed the equipment. Chief Executive for the Orikro Municipal, Abraham Kwame Entry, spoke on Love FM.
No, as I speak, no. In fact, at the launch of the program, it was announced that after the launch, these equipment will begin to be transported to various locations. We have asked and specific date and time. However, the distribution is ongoing. We expect that with time, ours will also get to us. But As to whether tomorrow, Friday, Monday, that specific answer I haven't gotten yet.
As the general elections beckon, the local assemblies are eagerly awaiting the equipment to reshape deplorable and untarred road networks. Abraham Entry shares plans for the road construction works in the Oforiko municipality.
We have an inventory of all these road networks. We know the areas that require this maintenance activity. The next thing is that I also said that areas like Bomso do not even necessarily need it. The other factor we have to consider is probably if you get to Emena Atiedu Wedi Kokobin, there is a major contractor doing some work there.
MCE for Swami Maxwell Ofosu is optimistic the equipment would reduce financial burden of hiring and facilitate construction of roads in every nook and cranny of the municipality.
But once we are going to have these machines, every corner of the municipal assembly will be covered. Every corner. Because you see, what costs the assembly so much is the hiring of those machines.
Lab News understands distribution of the equipment has begun in municipalities in the outskirts of the cities. For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Cherry.
Well, the Oforiko Municipal Assembly and the National Road Safety Authority have established a new executive team to address road accidents in the Ashanti region. The partnership seeks to prefer local solutions to combat carnages on the roads. There is more in this report by David Opokunretu.
The Ashanti region has seen an increase in road fatalities, recording over 60% upsurge on road carnages between January and June 2024. This situation calls for urgent attention and measures to improve road safety in the region. Assistant Planning Manager at the Road Safety Authority in Ashanti region, Samuel Edujima, says local solutions to road accidents are critical in reducing the number of deaths in the region.
As the committee met, we discussed a lot of issues that are happening that actually add on to the crisis that we are having. We talked about the fact that people are ignorant. They don't know the rules and regulations of our road. There are a lot of issues with our roads, with potholes and then street lighting systems. Some of our traffic lights are not functioning.
The tricycle menace, lack of transport terminal, pedestrian walkway takeover, poor law enforcement and lack of street lights are among challenges of road safety in the Oforiko municipality. The Road Safety Authority is prioritizing the provision of comprehensive training to local assemblies to effectively educate schools, churches, drivers and other stakeholders. This training will ensure a better understanding and adherence to traffic rules and road signs.
We are saying that as a committee, we are going to make sure that all the people we talked about, the people providing road safety services, the mechanics, the tire dealers, the organizers and the rest, we are going to look at them in the assembly, register them, get them trained.
Drivers and pedestrians have been entreated to adhere to the use of road signs to avoid accidents.
In Ashanti region, if you are supposed to drive, make sure that you are reducing your speed, because speed actually kills, but it can also kill you. So reduce your speed in Ashanti region. And if you must travel in the night in Ashanti region, make sure you are taking precautions to make sure you are driving safely. You know, a lot of crashes that happens in the region actually happens in the night. And we are admonishing all drivers to make sure if they are driving in the night, they take extra precautions for their safety.
David Opoku's reports for Joy News.
The opposition National Democratic Congress is accusing the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahama Bawumia, of double standards in the fight against corruption. The NDC claims that a company allegedly belonging to the vice president's brother has received government contract amounting to 218 million cedis through sole sourcing. There's more in the following report.
The NDC contends that Dr. Bawumia, who has previously criticized sole sourcing, is now benefiting from it. The opposition party argues that this is a clear case of hypocrisy and double standards, undermining his public stance on transparency and accountability in government procurement. According to the NDC, the company in question is purportedly owned by a brother of Dr. Bawumia and has been awarded 5 contracts at an inflated price of 218 million cedis.
Contrary to his holier than thou rhetorics on the subject of sole sourcing in government procurement while in opposition, Bawumia today is the biggest promoter and beneficiary of sole sourcing. As we speak, sole sourcing has become the norm and the most preferred method of procurement for several dubious contracts awarded to relatives and cronies of the Vice President Alhaji Bawumia. Amount were colossal 218 million Ghana cedis, equivalent to 2.18 trillion old Ghana cedis.
The NDC has assured that, if elected as president, John Mahama will tackle corruption head-on and prosecute persons found culpable of embezzling state funds.
As you may be aware, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has promised that he will confront the canker of corruption head-on by ensuring that the sword of accountability cuts both ways. He has promised to hold members of this corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government accountable for all their corrupt acts. So, fellow countrymen and women, you can be rest assured that under the next NDC Mahama government, these sleazy, illegal, and inflated sole source contracts will be investigated and the Japadian thieves prosecuted.
The party added that a vote for John Mahama is a vote for fighting corruption and the introduction of a 24-hour economic policy that will offer decent, well-paying jobs for the country's teeming unemployed youth.
Well, home economics teachers across the country are advised to upgrade their knowledge of technology to best fit in the fourth industrial revolution. The Volta Regional Director of Education, Francis Agbemadi, asserted facilitators would play crucial roles in the yet-to-be-introduced secondary education curriculum and hence must be well-positioned for the task. He, among other stakeholders, made the call during the 43rd biannual general meeting of the Ghana Home Economics Association held in Ho. There's more of that story on myjoyonline.com. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be back with Showbiz. Welcome back. Let's do Showbiz now. And Becky Bex
I'm always
is
here. I'm always here. And
you know what? I wanted to mention concierge, but I said, well, anyway.
Yeah, I operate a concierge service, but that's not why we're here this evening. Let's talk about celebrated female gospel artist and songwriter Ohima Mercy. She has officially launched the 11th edition of her Tehillah Experience, the event which is expected to draw thousands of fans of gospel music from all walks of life, is scheduled to feature Ohima Mercy as the headlining performer, with many others come 8th of September 2024. Nicholas Ekoyemwa has more in this report. Tehillah Experience is here again, and all roads leads to the Oil Dome on September 8th, 2024 for the 11th edition. This edition, which was launched at the Thank Palace in Accra, is themed the Bethel Experience. Speaking at the launch, Ohima Mercy mentioned that patrons should expect testimonies and prepare their hearts for the event.
This year, I don't know, but there is something that God is going to visit us in a special way. What you experienced last year, I believe that this year is going to be special in a special way. It's forever going to be in a very powerful way. Last year, most of the people, it's all about the testimonies and the motive of people coming. You just don't come to Tehillah Experience. You need to prepare yourself. And during the preparation, we have the hand of God visiting us in the special way. So we are on Facebook doing our 30 days fasting. And what makes people have a lot of miracles is your readiness of not just coming to entertain yourself. And in fact, this atmosphere is not about entertainment. It's about the hand of God moving, breaking altars, battles, and giving new garment to his people. So this year, we believe that God is coming from above with a special package. I don't know how it's going to do it, but I'm believing God for miracles.
Sissy Chum and PSA Esther, who have been billed to perform at this year's edition, are also promising nothing but the best.
Nothing but the power of God. The power of God, and surely they are all going to experience the better.
They should expect God's presence. As I said, I have nothing to offer, but I mean, we all availing ourselves for God to use us on the day. We just coming to lead God's people to the throne room of grace. So people should come with an open heart that they are coming to receive from God and not from us. I mean, God is going to do his own thing on the day.
Tehillah Experience was started in 2013 by the singer to gather Christians in praise and worship. Some artists billed to minister at the event include Anklato, Sissy Chum, PSA Esther, MOG Music, legendary singer Mama Esther, Nasi, and from Nigeria, Ebuka Songs and Abe Ojomo. Nicholas Ekoyamwa's report for Joy News. We cannot wait for that particular event. Who are you looking forward to see, Brace? I know you mentioned Ebuka.
Ebuka Songs. His
yeah.
worships are just extraordinary.
Yeah.
Nasi is also a wonderful worshipper. Uncle it's been a long time.
Mama Esther,
and I'm looking for Sissy Chum as well.
Sissy Chum as well. I'm looking forward to seeing Mama Esther on stage.
Yeah.
Heard from her in a long time. Beautiful PSA statue is there.
Yeah.
So we're all looking forward to this particular event, Tehillah Experience at not 10, at 11 years old. Away from that, let's talk about Shatta Wale, because anticipation is building up as dancehall artist Shatta Wale prepares to release his new album titled Safa. The album, which is an abbreviation of Shatta and Fans album, is carefully curated.